Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the continuing episodes of my Fallout 4 playthrough. We are in the process of improving the settlement at Sanctuary Hills. With the advent of artillery, which we learned in our last quest at the castle, I figured it was time to start expanding and preparing Sanctuary Hills into becoming a full-blown settlement with many settlers coming to join. And so in the last episode, we laid down all of the concrete work, the floors, the walls, the ceilings, and finished all of that up. And we've created 8 rooms, 4 on each floor, and we're in the process now of laying down the actual furniture. I had thought maybe doing 3 or 4 beds per room, but now I've rethought that and decided that I will put 2 beds in each room, and that'll make it a total of 16. And that'll be fine because I don't have that much charisma, so I'm not going to be able to fill the settlement up with 30 or 40 settlers. Right now I can only do about 12, I believe, but we'll go ahead and put 16 in here. There are some ways to get settlers that you can get to your settlements even though you have a low charisma. We haven't gotten to that point in the game yet, so my settlements will be restricted to just a few. I believe the number is 10 plus the number of charisma that you have, and I have a very low charisma at this point. My charisma is only 1, so that means that I can only have 11 settlers. But like I say, there are ways to get around that. So, I've got the beds placed. We've put 8 of them in up here. I'm going along making sure that they're all properly coordinated and in their corners the way they're supposed to be. I know this is probably pretty boring to watch, but, you know, this is the way the game's played. You build your stuff, and then you put your furniture in, and you put your clutter in. I'm not much of a clutter guy, so I don't put a lot of that in.
7 p.m. here at Radio Freedom.
I'm concerned about the fact that these concrete floors and concrete and steel floors are going to be cold to walk on. Now, I understand we're talking about NPCs, computer-generated characters, but again, it's one of those things to where I'm trying to deal with this as if it were me, and I wouldn't want to wake up and walk across a cold floor. So I'm trying to decide whether or not I should put some mats down, and whether they will be of value or not, and how hard they will be to do. They're not clicking together, so that's not good. But we'll see what happens. I spend a little bit of while doing this. I end up putting floor mats on the upper floor, but decide that it's just too much hassle to do for the lower floor. So I'm trying to decide whether to do them in quarters or fulls, or you know, how to actually put the mats down. And I'm discovering there's no real good way to do this. But I'm stubborn, so I'll do this floor. Notice that even though they're down and they're close together, they're not linking up. And if they would snap together, it'd be a lot easier and a lot better. I keep hitting the wrong key, which is the reason why the storage button keeps coming up.
This is Radio Freedom, broadcasting all day, all across the Commonwealth. All quiet, which is how we like it. Stay safe out there, people.
For some reason, these mats have linked together. When I select one, multiples are being moved at the same time. And that causes me to go and give up on that in frustration. So now what I'm going to do is see if I can place full mats and get them to work better. I play around with this for a long time. I just happened to notice right there that this mat is still riding up. So it's not on the floor itself. It's about 2 inches above the floor, which is definitely not what I want. It's really glitching. I'm not happy at all with what's going on with these mats. But like I say, I keep trying. Now this is when I noticed that they're actually up and off the floor. If you look real close as we pull back here in a second, you'll see that it actually casts a shadow.
This is Radio Freedom, broadcasting all
And
day, all across
that's
the
not good.
Commonwealth. All's quiet across the Commonwealth. Stay safe out there. This is Radio Freedom, broadcasting all day, all across the Commonwealth. Nothing to report at the moment. Stay tuned for updates.
It's an awful lot of work just for floor coverings. So like I say, I struggle with it to try to make things consistent up here on this second floor. Notice that no matter how much I work to square these things, they never really link up and square up. And it never really, snaps together and becomes a good solid floor for me. I guess they're not really designed to be, full floor covers. They're supposed to be a mat that you lay down in the center of the room or something like that. But anyway, at this point, I have one that I go, it's acceptable. And what I'm trying to do now is decide what furniture I'm going to put in this room. Since there are going to be two here, what I want to do is to put a chest of drawers of some sort up for each one. And that way each has their own place to put belongings. I keep it rather sparse. So I'll put 2 chests of drawers in place, one for each person. I'll put a nightstand beside their beds, and then I'll give them a common comfy chair that they can argue over. Of course, they never use it. It's, like I say, they're computer-generated characters, and they're always walking around and not farming or not doing their job. But for me, this is, a decent place to begin. So put a little nightstand down here for each one.
It's 9 p.m.
And then put a chair in place between
All
them.
quiet, which is how we like it. Stay safe out there, people.
And then that will be pretty much so what I do here. I'm not going to electrify the place yet. Not because I can't, it's just that that's not in the plans at the present. We'll come back at some time in the future and electrify the entire area when the time comes. This way I don't spend forever just doing this settlement. We'll spend some time improving this one and then leave, do some quests, and come back and improve it some more until we finally get it to where we like it. And so we have one room completely finished. I've decided that I'm going to try to put the mats in here. And in so doing, I needed to clear the room of the beds so that I could place them in here and then move the furniture in place.
This is Radio Freedom.
Hopefully, it will go better, but I doubt it. If I remember correctly, putting these mats down were never easy. And they never, ever snapped together. And they never ended up looking right. There was always gaps and shadows and overlaps. So I decided that was good enough. A little bit later, I do see some gaps in the areas that I can't see now because it's dark, but that's okay.
It's just past 10 p.m. All's quiet across the Commonwealth. Stay safe out there.
So that puts the mats down, that puts the beds in place. We're going to put our chair in. And we've decided that the furniture is going to be 2 nightstands, 2 chest of drawers, and 1 chair, and 2 beds. And that's all we're going to put on the floors. So since I don't have to make those decisions, this should go fairly quickly. And we'll go from room to room. Now, one of the things that I'm also doing right now is stalling. It's 10 o'clock at night, according to Radio Mike. And the gang has not gone to bed yet.
This is Radio Freedom, broadcasting
And
all
so I'm
day,
waiting
all
for them to
across
go
the
to bed
Commonwealth.
so that I can figure
Nothing
out
to report
who's
at the
in
moment.
what
Stay
bed.
tuned for updates.
So that whenever I do the furniture downstairs, I can move them into their various rooms and break them up accordingly. Since June and Marcy are married, I want to give them a room of their own. Give Mama Murphy a room of her own, and Sturgis and Preston a room of their own. And then that will let Sheffield and the new settler pick the room that they want. And any new settlers will pick whatever rooms they want to have at that time. But the main one is Marcy and June and Mama Murphy. Sturgis and Preston are not assigned, can't be assigned, and so it really doesn't matter.
11 p.m. out there.
I'll just grab the beds that they have picked and put
Nothing
them
to
in the
report.
same room.
Stay safe, people.
But depending on where they go and what they do, sometimes they go to the castle, and sometimes they stay here. And I can assign Preston wherever I want him to go. He is a follower, and so I can recruit him and send him off to some settlement out in the middle of nowhere and never go talk to him again if I want. But anyway, we've got the floor mats down here, and we've got the beds in place. But as you can see, there's a gap there that I didn't catch and didn't fix, but that's okay. Probably what will happen is sometime in the future I will just come and take all of these
Radio
away.
Freedom, broadcasting all day.
Because when
all
I come in here
across
during the day
Commonwealth.
and look at them, I'm not going to like what they
Quiet,
look like.
Which is how we like it. Stay safe out there, people.
But for now, and notice that it is raining outside. You can hear the thunder and light, or see the lightning every once in a while. You can hear the raindrops. But notice that the floor is dry. You don't see the raindrops coming into the building. And that's good.
You're tuned to Radio Freedom.
And we're looking outside and we can see the
Nothing to
puddles
report.
on the ground.
Keep it tuned here for Minutemen Alerts.
But notice that the floor is dry up here. Oddly enough, when we go downstairs to the first floor, we'll see puddles on the floor. And I guess that's because the roof immediately above, or the ceiling immediately above the first floor, is not a roof, but it's a combination of a ceiling and a floor. And so it doesn't see that as being totally waterproof, and it lets the water hit the foundation and puddle up. We don't ever see rain in that process, but
This is Radio Freedom.
we do see the puddling on the floor.
All quiet here. Stay tuned for Minutemen Alerts.
It's just one of the glitches of the system. So I evidently hit the wrong key, and instead of dropping the mat, I go into the save menu. Sorry about that. I'm not going to edit that out. I'll let you experience my mistakes as if you were watching me on a live stream. I was concerned when it blanked out the audio that perhaps something had happened to my recording stream, but it was just that I'd hit the wrong key. And now I'm fighting with placing these mats, and they're linking up when they shouldn't. All three of them have linked up. I selected only one, and all three of the mats have were moving around. Again, I don't know why it does that, but it was glitching and made it extremely hard to place those mats where I wanted them
It's
to be.
midnight here at Radio Freedom. Nothing to report. Stay safe out there, everyone.
Notice that they're now a couple of inches off the floor. And I can't get them to drop back down. So, we totally separate them. And they still link up and move together. So I have to give more distance between them, and maybe then they'll start acting right. Now this one highlights, which means that it's in a place that it can drop successfully, but it still is off the floor. So I don't understand. And I'm trying to get it to drop down to the floor, and it never really goes. I'm getting frustrated at this point.
Radio Freedom, broadcasting
I'm
all
figuring,
day,
well,
all
maybe
across
move
the
around,
Commonwealth.
change your angles, see if
Nothing
that
to report
changes
at the
it.
moment. Stay
It
tuned for
doesn't.
updates.
It's jumping down there every once in a while, but it's not really putting itself into a position to where it can drop. So I've given up on that one. Let's see if I can place this one and it be on the floor. That says that it is, and I look around and it looks okay. Now let's see if I can put this one next to it and at the same level. It seems to be at the same level, but I'm having a hard time getting it to line up and fill up all the gaps. Every time I select this one, it wants to jump up. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is just leaving the gaps. It's getting very frustrating at this point. And notice it's up off the floor again. Yeah, I've kind of said, all right, let's just start over. And I'm beginning to see what the problem is. The problem is that the mats from the other side are bleeding through. So I'm going to stay away from that wall for now and set the ones up against the outside wall.
This is Radio Freedom, broadcasting all day, all across the Commonwealth. Nothing to report at the moment. Stay tuned for updates.
I think if it were light, I would see and be able to deal with this a whole lot better. But it's dark, and I'm, for some reason, don't turn my light on. And I don't put any other kind of light in there. Even though it's in the perfect position, it is about 4 inches off the floor, and that bothers me. So I tried to move it around again. And it doesn't seem that anything I do can fix the fact that it's raising up off the floor. Now that dropped down into place, and I've got it now lined nice and neat, and that one seems to be at the same level. So I've got that one on, but it's higher up. And I'm still just going to struggle with this and try to get it all one level. It is extremely frustrating at this point. And it seems no matter what I do, I cannot get these things to drop down beyond the level of the concrete and square up with the walls. These two seem to be where they're supposed to be, but let's see if we can get this third one in.
You're tuned to Radio Freedom.
Like I say, when I get all this done, I'm going to come back in during the daylight and go, this sucks. And I'll probably just take it all out. And since I've already played this, I can tell you I don't do it at this point or during this play time. I keep thinking that it's in pretty good shape after I get this finished. And I've decided at that point we're done with it. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, this is my fourth room on top. And let's just finish it. So we'll bring the beds in, drop them off. And then we'll put the 2 nightstands and the 2 chest of drawers and a chair in here. Hit the wrong key. Quit looking at the squares. Put your nightstands in. Put our chest of drawers in. In case you've missed it, I am doing this construction in God mode.
Nothing to report.
And
Stay safe, people.
what that means is that I have gone into the command console and I have toggled God mode, and that gives me unlimited resources as well as I cannot die. So if during the construction of this I were to fall off from the ceiling or from the roof, it wouldn't kill me. The reason why I did that was not particularly to cheat, but to be able to build this without having to have all of the resources. I cannot believe I did that. After all the work that I have done to get it in place, I accidentally store it. That is insane. Oh, let's take the next 20 minutes and put this in place now. I don't think I'll take that long, but it's just, that was stupid.
You're tuned to Radio Freedom.
I don't believe I did that.
All quiet here. Stay tuned for Minutemen alerts.
So we'll struggle with this to get it in place. See, I worked very hard to get that up against the wall, and then now I have to pull it away from the wall. Let's just take it. And as you can see, it's actually higher than the others. I think I take that. Although it is riding up. That seemed to have dropped. So we'll take that and put the chest of drawers back in place. And we'll call the first or the second floor complete. No. Let's get out of here. We don't want to do this anymore. All right, with that, we're going to put a save, and we'll stop it here for this one. And next time, we'll figure out where we're going to put the various settlers on the first floor. So I'm out looking to see where Marcy is, and where June is, and where Sturgis. This is one of the reasons why I want to move them out there. That Brahmin is in the living room. So I've made note of where they are, and next time I will start working on the first floor, and we'll make furniture down there. So until then, take care. Have a good one.